To mighty London came an Irish lad one day. All the streets were paved with gold, so everyone was gay, singing songs of Piccadilly, Strand and Leicester Square, till Paddy got excited and he shouted to them there, "It's a long way to Tipperary, it's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye, Piccadilly, farewell, Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but my heart's right there." Paddy wrote a letter to his Irish Molly-o, saying, "Should you not receive it, write and let me know. If I make mistakes in spelling, Molly dear," said he, "remember it's the pen that's bad, don't lay the blame on me. It's a long way to Tipperary, it's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye, Piccadilly, farewell, Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but my heart's right there." Molly wrote a neat reply to Irish Paddy-o, saying, "Mike Maloney wants to marry me, and so leave the Strand and Piccadilly, or you'll be to blame. For love has fairly drove me silly, hoping you're the same. It's a long way to Tipperary, it's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye, Piccadilly, farewell, Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but my heart's right there. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but my heart's right there."
He was a famous trumpet man from out Chicago way. He had a boogie style that no one else could play. He was the top man at his craft, but then his number came up and he was gone with the draft. He's in the army now, a blowin' reveille. He's the boogie-woogie bugle boy of Company B. They made him blow a bugle for his Uncle Sam. It really brought him down because he couldn't jam. The captain seemed to understand, because the next day the cap went out and drafted a band, and now the company jumps when he plays reveille. He's the boogie-woogie bugle boy of Company B. A toot, a toot, a tooty-lad, a tooty blows it eight to the bar. In boogie rhythm, he can't blow a note unless the bass and guitar is playing with him. He makes a company jump when he plays reveille. He's the boogie-woogie bugle boy of Company B. He was a boogie-woogie bugle boy of Company B. And when he plays boogie-woogie bugle, he was busy as a buzz bee. And when he plays, he makes the company jump eight to the bar. He's a boogie-woogie bugle boy of Company B. Toot-toot-toot-da-da, toot-da-da, toot-toot, he blows it eight to the bar. He can't blow a note if the bass and guitar isn't with him. And the company jumps when he plays reveille. He's a boogie-woogie bugle boy of Company B. He puts the boys to sleep with boogie every night and wakes them up the same way in the early bright. They clap their hands and stamp their feet, because they know how he plays. When someone gives him a beat, he really breaks it up. When he plays reveille, he's the boogie woogie bugle boy of Company B. Da 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 da. The company jumps when he plays reveille. He's the boogie woogie bugle boy of Company B.
You know I can be found sitting home all alone. If you can't come around, at least please telephone. Don't be cruel to who heart is true. Baby, if I made you mad for something I might have said, please let's forget the past. The future looks bright ahead. Don't be cruel to who heart is true. I don't want no other love, baby, it's just you I'm thinking of. Don't stop thinking of me, don't make me feel this way. Come on over here and love me. You know what I want you to say. Don't be cruel to who heart is true. Why should we be apart? I really love you, baby, cross my heart. Let's walk up to the preacher and let's say I do. Then you'll know you'll have me, and I know that I'll have you. Don't be cruel to who heart is true. I don't want no other love, oh baby, it's just you I'm thinking of. Don't be cruel to who heart is true. Don't be cruel to who heart is true. I don't want no other love, oh baby, it's just you I'm thinking of.
Hello, my name is Cadet Captain Cameron Meyer, and on behalf of the Idaho Wing Civil Air Patrol, I would like to welcome all of you to the 2020 HART Ceremony.
Hi from the Sevier Valley Raptors in Utah Wing. Sorry we couldn't make it out to you guys. We miss you so much and we can't wait for next year.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would first like to tell you that any photos or videos used in this production are file footage taken prior to COVID-19. Cadets, march on the flags. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the singing of our national anthems, starting with the Star Spangled Banner. The words are within your program. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the singing of our national anthems, commencing with the Star Spangled Banner.
With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for
O Canada. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Veterans, distinguished guests, Civil Air Patrol officers and cadets, and Royal Canadian Air Cadets and officers. My name is Darlene LaRoche, lifetime member of the Alberta Provincial Committee, Air Cadet League of Canada. I will be your Master of Ceremonies for today's first virtual ceremony. Welcome to the 10th HART Ceremony. We are live streaming this program this morning from Bomber Command Museum in Nanton, Alberta, and we thank them very much for their support in this broadcast. At this time, I'd like to introduce Captain Retired Douglas Eaglesham, CD2, recipient of the Alberta Order of Excellence. He will be reading the poem Honor by Kathleen Mills.
On my honor, we will stand at the place where you rest and remember you. On my honor, we will pick up the torch of freedom and carry it for you. On my honor, you will not be a silent memory. We will speak of you often so the world will know what you have done. On my honor, as you reach the gates of heaven, you will hear the voices of a grateful nation rise up, and we will honor you.
What is HART? It stands for Honoring Allies, Remembering Together. This ceremony is also referred to as the Wreaths Across the Border ceremony and was started by the organization Wreaths Across America. Similar ceremonies to this one we hold today will take place with the Civil Air Patrol and the Royal Canadian Air Cadets at the Ferry Point Bridge between Calais, Maine and St. Stephen, New Brunswick, and Ambassador Bridge between Detroit, Michigan and Windsor, Ontario. With over 225,000 deceased members of the Canadian Armed Forces buried in cemeteries coast to coast, Wreaths Across Canada encourages Canadians to make a personal connection with veterans interred at burial sites by placing balsam wreaths at their headstones. Wreaths will be placed at the National Military Cemetery at Beechwood, Ontario. This ceremony is carried out on the first Sunday of December. Wreaths Across Canada was both inspired and modeled after Wreaths Across America, where the laying of wreaths ceremonies takes place at over 300 military cemeteries in the United States of America before the Christmas holidays. Wreaths will also be placed at the United States American National Military Cemetery in Arlington, Virginia. In this way, Wreaths Across Canada encourages all communities to take similar steps to personally recognize and reflect upon the sacrifices and contribution of Canada's greatest heroes. The purpose of today is to remember, to honor, and to teach. To remember the men and women of the Armed Forces of Canada and the United States of America who so faithfully served their country in times of peace and conflict, and who now rest in cemeteries across both our nations. To honor their dedication, service, and sacrifice on behalf of grateful nations. To teach our citizens, particularly our youth, the cost that has been paid to maintain freedom and to preserve democracy, and now their service to each of our nations has ensured that their fellow citizens will continue to enjoy peace and security. The same folks who know how important it is to honor our veterans are the ones who know that teaching history and our heritage as a nation is the only way we will ever prepare the next generation. As expressed in the immortal words of the 40th President of the United States, Ronald Reagan said this: "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on to them to do the same. Or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was like once in the United States of America, where men were free." Ronald Reagan, 40th President of the United States of America, 1911 to 2004. I'd now like to introduce our Memorial Cross families and Gold Star wives. Diane and Gaetan Delaire. I feel it is important to mention that this family has been steadfast since the very beginning of this ceremony in Alberta and participating in this ceremony to help teach our cadets about the price of freedom. Their son, Private Kevin Delaire, 1st Battalion PPCLI, aged 22, died in Afghanistan on August 3, 2006. He was awarded the Sacrifice Medal posthumously. What has the HART ceremony meant to you and your family?
To me personally, I like the fact that our soldiers are remembered on the different day, like not just Remembrance Day, like for Christmas, that kind of stuff. And I like the fact that it's done with like teenagers, their cadets or young women and young men that are doing this, and that we're doing it with the United States, both sharing the loss of our family members. So that's what I but like the fact that they can come together and put the differences aside to honor our fallen soldiers.
Can you tell us a bit about your son's military career?
Yes, Kevin joined the Armed Forces in January 2003, and he passed away August 3rd, 2006. He was an infantry soldier. He was with the 1 PPCLI, Princess Patricia Canadian Light Infantry, stationed in CFB Edmonton, Canada. He was very quiet. I once told somebody about he was in the Army, and he says, "Why are you telling them I'm in the Army? It's nobody's business but his own." He was a very private young man, and we learned later on that he was referred by his Army buddies as the Silent Frenchman.
Would you tell us a little bit about your son?
Kevin was a very quiet young man. He enjoyed playing, but he was very private. He didn't talk about a lot of stuff because, I don't know, for some reason he was very quiet. He was the same thing in school. Even the teachers had a hard time getting to talk. It's need to know basics. He enjoyed playing. He enjoyed playing with his brother, but like I says, he was a very private young man.
Mrs. Jeanette Early is a Gold Star wife as a result of her husband's death in the Vietnam War. Her late husband, Sergeant First Class Howard Lee Early, died in February 1969 during his tour of duty in Vietnam, leaving her and her 3 sons at 5 years old and 4-year-old twins. Jeanette served in the honorable position as National President of the Gold Star Wives of America from 2011 to 2013 and is now involved in several volunteer organizations in Denver, Colorado.
Ma'am, what has the HART ceremony meant to you and your family?
The HART ceremony has meant very, very much. It was very meaningful to me. My first time attending the ceremony was in 2017. I had the opportunity to attend with Civil Air Patrol out of Denver, Aurora rather, and to see the Canada and U.S. come together and the cadets to remember the legacy of those who served, our loved ones who sacrificed and gave themselves in defense of our country was an awesome occasion.
Ma'am, would you tell us a little bit about your husband's military service?
I can. He was in the Army, Sergeant First Class, He was a paratrooper. He was sergeant and qualified. He served 17 and a half years, lost his life in Vietnam in 1969, serving with a MACV patrol group. We have 3 sons that he admired greatly.
Ma'am, would you tell us about your husband as a person?
As a person, as I say, the 3 sons were his world. His comrades admired him. He was such a committed person to his career, loved the Army and loved what he was doing. So we were just in love with him as a person because of his commitment and dedication to what he was doing and serving his country.
Leona and David Stock have been attending this ceremony for 8 years in order to remind our cadets of their son's sacrifice so we can live in peace. Their son, Sapper Stephen Stock, 12th Field Squadron, 1st Combat Engineer Regiment, PPCLI, died in Afghanistan on August 20th, 2008. He was awarded the Sacrifice Medal posthumously. What has the HART ceremony meant to you and your family?
It means a lot to us, and it's very heartwarming seeing the American and the cadets, the Canadian cadets, getting together and making friendships, across the border. It just really warms your heart to see that, and it's just nice, and it's extra special when some of the family of the fallen from the U.S. is there, and it's extra nice just getting the wreath that means so much to us, that remembering our son. It's just extra special, and it's a day I look forward to.
Can you tell us a bit about your son's military career?
Yeah, well, Stephen started his military career in the reserves. He was in Vancouver and Medicine Hat, and then in 2006 he joined the regular army, and he went to Quebec for training and then to do basic training, and then he went to Gagetown and did his training for combat engineer, and then he was based out of Edmonton before he deployed to Afghanistan. And he deployed to Afghanistan in 2008, and because they're combat engineers, they were trained to sort of build and anything they needed in that form, and also to secure routes by searching and destroying IEDs. And he was killed while escorting a convoy in a well-used route. They were hit by an IED, and he was killed in August 20th, 2008, and was killed with 2 other soldiers.
Would you tell us a little bit about your son?
And then a lot about his personal life. Stephen had really enjoyed sports, he excelled in sports, and I think that's where he learned a lot of his leadership skills, because he played football, soccer, basketball, boxing, snowboarding, anything sort of exercise-wise or physical, he enjoyed it. And he had a really good bunch of friends. Yes, they liked to party, but they were very mature at times when it needed to be. And he was very close with his brother Brian, and they loved to snowboard. And they snowboarded a lot of the Alberta and BC mountains. And it was tough on all of us whenever Stephen wasn't here anymore. Still miss him every day.
Helen and Mel Keller have been attending this ceremony for several years, and we are grateful for their participation to help teach our cadets. The Keller family lost their son, Corporal Bryce Keller, age 27, PPCLI, International Security Assistance Force, on the 3rd of August, 2006. He was posthumously awarded the Sacrifice Medal and the Medal of Military Valor.
We really enjoyed being invited to the annual HART ceremony, just to see the respect the young cadets have for our fallen.
And we really like to see the cadets from both sides of the border working socially and working together. And we'd really like to thank HART for the respect they've given us and for the recognition in memory of our son, Corporal Bryce Keller.
Can you tell us a bit about your son's military career?
Bryce really wasn't in the military that long. He became a reservist at the age of 17.
He was in a university for
Oh yeah, right. Sorry, but he attended university for a year, and after that year, he did his basic training in Kingston, where he met his wife, Sarah. After the basic training, he immediately transferred to Edmonton to be with his wife. A year or so later, he quit the reserves and went on to other things. And in the fall of 2003, he re-enlisted in regular force with the Princess Patricias. In 2006, he was deployed to Afghanistan with the 1st Battalion, Princess Patricias. On August 3rd, 2006, Bryce was killed in a firefight against the Taliban in the White Schoolhouse. He was later awarded the Military Medal of Valor for his actions that day.
A stellar career for certain. Would you tell us a little bit about Bryce?
It's really hard to sum up Bryce in a few words. And he was far from perfect, just like the rest of us, but if there's one thing I can tell you about him, right from a young age, he always wanted to take care of people he thought were in trouble. And I remember after his first day of kindergarten, one of the mothers called me to thank Bryce. She said that her son was so afraid and uncomfortable, and Bryce just stepped in and took him under his wing and just took care of him.
Bryce was a born leader with very high protective instincts, especially on the day that he died. We think about him every day and miss him immensely.
He was unforgettable.
Mrs. Patty Sampers, Gold Star wife, is the widow of Petty Officer First Class U.S. Navy James W. Sampers. James was killed in action in South Vietnam on September 7, 1969, while serving with the 1st River Patrol Group as a naval advisor. This was his second deployment to South Vietnam. Patty and James are the parents of 4 children. Patty has served as the president of the Denver, Colorado chapter of Gold Star Wives of America.
What has the HART ceremony meant to you and your family?
I was able to go to the HART ceremony in Lethbridge, and it was an incredible honor for me. I believe the year I went was the first year that they included the Gold Star wives from America to take part. And we were able to meet these memorial family members. And there were widows, children, fathers, and mothers who had lost someone, and it meant so much to me to be able to share stories with them. and to talk to them about their loved ones and all of the wonderful, wonderful memories they had.
For sure.
It was an incredible event. I loved it.
Awesome. And speaking of loved ones, do you want to tell us a little bit about your husband's military career?
Yes, my husband Jim enlisted in the Navy right out of high school. He was making it a career to be in the Navy, and during that time there were lots of deployments. One of the deployments was an event that you may or may not know about. It was the Cuban Missile Crisis, and he was aboard a ship that was a part of that blockade. We were living in Key West, Florida, and it was a very, very scary, precarious situation.
For sure.
And he was so proud to be able to be a part of that event. And he then he went on to other deployments, and in 1969 he was on his third deployment to South Vietnam. And during that time he served as a commander on the river patrol boats. He was an advisor to the South Vietnamese government. And they had over 112 missions that they had completed. And on September the 7th, 1969, he was killed in Vietnam. And he was 27 years old. My husband and I had been high school sweethearts, and we married young, and thank goodness we had our family young. So we have 4 children, 3 boys and a girl, and I am so thankful that we had our family early. Jim was so proud to serve in the Navy, to be able to support our country, and on top of everything, he loved being a dad. Just loved it. I always felt he was bigger than life. He had an incredible gift for enjoying everything, and a wonderful, wonderful sense of humor. And my kids remember that about him, how he instilled in them all of those values that they carry with them today. Respect and loyalty and wanting always to do for other people. And one of the things that my children always talk about when they get together and talk about their dad is when they were very little, and we would hear the ice cream truck coming down the street, the bells, and their dad would say to them, "Go get the neighbor kids, go get the neighbor kids." And they would all gather up because they knew that my husband was going to buy them some ice cream, and they just loved it. And he was just a wonderful family man, a wonderful husband, and a wonderful dad.
Sounds very giving.
So,
Yeah.
He was.
All right. I appreciate you talking to me. I appreciate you telling me a little bit about your husband. That's
Thank you.
Really beautiful. He sounds like a really giving individual.
He was, and I think that's the most important thing that we need to do. We need to talk about all of those wonderful wonderful qualities that these men who served, whether they served in Canada or in the United States, they had these qualities and that they carried with them. And we have to remember that and share it and continue to let people know that. And so an event like the HART Ceremony, what a wonderful time to do that.
100%.
In Flanders Fields will be read today by Chief Warrant Officer, retired Stan Monkman, CD3, life member of the Alberta Provincial Committee, Air Cadet League of Canada.
In Flanders Fields. In Flanders Fields the poppies grow, between the crosses row on row that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, but now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you, with failing hands, we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields.
Taps will be played by a Civil Air Patrol cadet. Last Post will be played by a Royal Canadian Air Cadet. We will now observe 2 minutes of silence. We will now listen to the lament played by a Royal Canadian Air Cadet. The Act of Remembrance.
They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them. The rouse will now be played by a Royal Canadian Air Cadet. The Act of Commitment.
They were young, as we are young. They served, giving freely of themselves. To them, we pledge, amid the winds of time, to carry their torch and never forget. We will remember them.
We will remember them. At this time, I would like to recognize all volunteers from both of our nations who served their countries so that we might have peace in our homelands. Please honor them by saying thank you for your service at any time you meet a veteran. The following videos were filmed adhering to all COVID-19 protocols. At this time, I'd like to introduce Her Honor, Salma Lakhani, the Honorable Lieutenant Governor of Alberta.
Hello everyone, I'm Lieutenant Governor of Alberta, Salma Lakhani, and I'm delighted to join in this special cross-border ceremony. Although the pandemic is limiting how we gather together this year, it is still very important for us all to recognize the essential service of our women and men in uniform. A strong commitment to remembrance is just one of the many important ties that link Canada and the United States together as friends and allies. Through the decades, our heroes in uniform have fought together to defend our shared belief in freedom, democracy, human rights, and the rule of law, and to bring peace and stability to people around the world. I came to Canada in the 1970s as a stateless person after my family was expelled from our native Uganda, along with all residents of South Asian origin. That experience gives me a deep appreciation for the gifts of Canadian citizenship that I now enjoy, and for the freedoms that our allied forces have worked to protect through the years. As Her Majesty the Queen's representative in Alberta, I would like to thank all the veterans and current serving military members for your distinguished service. To the cadets from Alberta and the United States, thank you for your dedication to honoring our heroes and for your own commitment to giving back to your communities. I would also like to thank all the hardworking cadet leaders and volunteers for helping our young people grow into strong, confident, and engaged citizens. To everyone behind the HART initiative, thank you for your belief in the power and importance of friendship and cooperation across borders. Finally, to all who have lost a loved one, I wish you peace, and I hope that you find some comfort in the knowledge that their sacrifices will be remembered always. Thank you all, and may our fallen rest in peace.
Rhonda Bearclaw, Chairman, Alberta Provincial Committee, Air Cadet League of Canada.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, officers, and cadets from both the Civil Air Patrol and the Royal Canadian Air Cadet Program. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that we gather and parade on the traditional meeting places and homes for many Indigenous people. We wish to express gratitude to Mother Earth and for the resources we are using, and honor all the First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people who have been living on these lands for many years. Recognition and respect are essential elements to establishing healthy, reciprocal relations. These relations are key to reconciliation, a process the Air Cadet Program is committed to. The Alberta Provincial Committee would like to acknowledge the Civil Air Patrol dignitaries and veterans, as well as the Memorial Cross families and any Gold Star wives who have participated with us over the years. At this time of year, we pay tribute to the women and men who have served our country in times of war and peace in Canada and around the world. We commemorate those veterans who have given their lives in battle, on peacekeeping missions, in times of natural disaster, and in the midst of humanitarian crisis. Equally, we celebrate or salute the veterans who have returned as witnesses of history's upheaval and as keepers of sacred memory through their personal challenges and triumphs. The Civil Air Patrol Cadet Program transforms youth into dynamic American and aerospace leaders through a curriculum that focuses on leadership, aerospace, fitness, and character. Many of the nation's astronauts, pilots, engineers, and scientists first explored their careers through the Civil Air Patrol Program. The Air Cadet Program here in Canada essentially does the same thing, promoting leadership, citizenship, physical wellness, and aviation-related activities. We too have many leaders in our nation that were former Air Cadets, something we should all be very proud of. HART allows us to honor the personal and professional sacrifices of our military allies in both the U.S. and Canada, while also raising awareness of the exceptionally strong bond between our two nations. Let us honor those that have passed and those that are leading the way with our support, respect, and gratitude. This event is a significant way to ensure that our youth are aware of how their freedoms come, promotes citizenship, and strengthens further alliances between our Air Cadets and the Civil Air Patrol program. I am pleased and excited that this year, in these unprecedented times, we are able to still celebrate, albeit virtually.
Commodore M. Kurtz, Order Military Medal, CD, Commander, National Cadet and Junior Canadian Ranger Support Group.
Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, every year, Canadian cadets, Civil Air Patrol, Silver Cross mothers, Gold Star mothers, military members, Legion members, families and friends have come from all over Alberta and the northern United States to remember those who have served and fallen. This year, on the 10th anniversary of the HART Ceremony, things are a little different. We're joining you virtually, but what remains the same is the importance to take the time to honor the sacrifice of those who have served, those who made the ultimate sacrifice, as well as those who choose to serve in uniform today. Thank you for inviting me. I'm honored to participate in this year's HART Ceremony, my first as the newly appointed Commander of Cadets and Junior Canadian Rangers. Some of the aims of the Canadian Cadet Program include the development of good citizenship, leadership, and an awareness of the activities of the Canadian Armed Forces. Usually, this means cadets from across the country participate in Remembrance Day ceremonies and activities as a way to acknowledge the bravery and sacrifice of those who served our country and acknowledge our duty to work for the peace they fought hard to attain. This year, although cadets will not be participating in in-person activities, they will continue to remember through virtual engagement opportunities and by participating in online ceremonies where possible. The format is different, but the intent is the same, and our marks of respect and remembrance just as powerful. Through small yet meaningful gestures and actions, I'm proud to say that cadets continuously show their respect for veterans and their sacrifices, demonstrating to all of us that the next generation of Canadian leaders will not forget those who gave their lives to defend the values that define our great nations and the strong bonds between Canada and the United States. Thank you to those who worked so hard through this ceremony and all year long to ensure generations to come remember, honor, and teach. And thank you all for your acts of remembrance, lest we forget.
Major General Mark Smith, National Commander, Civil Air Patrol.
Greetings. My thanks and welcome to all of you who are participating in this year's HART Ceremony. What a wonderful, appropriate, and powerful way to commemorate those who have fallen, both Canadian and United States. And I am particularly humbled and thankful for the participation in this year's ceremony by Canadian Memorial Cross families, as well as Gold Star families. We are deeply indebted to you for your sacrifice, and thank you for being with us today. Let me pass along my thanks and appreciation to those who have made this year's virtual ceremony possible. My friends with the Air Cadet League of Canada, the Royal Canadian Air Cadets, and members of Civil Air Patrol. May this year's virtual ceremony be truly meaningful, and may next year's ceremony be in person. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful celebration.
Greetings from the Civil Air Patrol Cadets. Cadet Colonel Isaac Stone, Rocky Mountain Region Cadets.
Greetings to the Royal Canadian Air Cadets. I am Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Isaac Stone with the Rocky Mountain Region Civil Air Patrol. And to me, HART is an opportunity for cadets from both Canada and America to share a ceremony remembering our wartime allies and joining together and honoring those men and women who gave their lives in service to their country. HART reminds us of the sacrifice that many have given to maintain peace across the globe, and it's also a rare chance for cadets to meet counterparts from Canada or America and spend time learning about the different programs and each other. It is a great time had by all, and is a great opportunity that I know that many within the Rocky Mountain region have enjoyed.
Greetings from the Royal Canadian Air Cadets. Sergeant Julian Tan, 918 Griffin Squadron, Calgary, Alberta.
June 6, 1944, D-Day. Allied forces land on the beaches of Normandy to begin the liberation of Europe from Nazi occupation. These troops, among them British, French, American, and Canadian, all fought side by side to win a pivotal battle of the Second World War. Canada and the United States have had a long-standing history of military cooperation. From the decisive victory at the Battle of Amiens, to the beaches of Normandy, to the War on Terror, and closer to home over the skies of the North American continent, there is no doubt that Canadian and American military ties will always remain strong. On behalf of all Albertan cadets, I, Sergeant Julian Tan of 918 Griffin, Royal Canadian Air Cadet Squadron, welcome you to this year's HART Ceremony, where we will honor our allies and remember those soldiers from both Canada and the United States who made the ultimate sacrifice so that we may enjoy the liberty and freedom we have today, lest we forget.
Greetings from the Deputy Mayor of Nanton, Alberta. His Worship, Deputy Mayor John Dozenman.
Hi, my name is John Dozeman. I'm the Deputy Mayor of the town of Nanton. On behalf of Nanton Town Council, Her Worship the Mayor, and the administration, we'd like to welcome you to this year's HART Ceremony. I've had the opportunity to wander around as everybody is setting up and talk to a few of the individuals involved and learn a little bit more about what the HART Ceremony is, and very meaningful and very powerful. And so thank you for coming to Nanton and having this ceremony. We're glad to host you, and good luck to you all. Thank you.
Wherever we go and whatever we do, may we always be friends when we meet again. Thank you to one and all for joining us for today's first virtual HART Ceremony, broadcasting live from the Bomber Command Museum, Nanton, Alberta. Today we have honoring together and remember together, honoring our allies and remembering together. Please stand for God Save the Queen.